we do look at SOS side, we have a Nivea, very, very good late game, very good at controlling space, could be quite tricky to play around.
Indeed, I think they do have some good scalers on the side of Sailors. You're looking at like Yone late game is pretty disgusting, especially if he's building that lifesteal. You've got Sejuani, who's just incredibly tanky, if not rivaling that Ornn in the top lane. However, scaling being said, obviously Ornn can just grant those improved mythic items or items across the board, so that will certainly be a help for them.
And this will be quite interesting. I expect this game to be slightly less of a fiesta than last time, just because both teams seem to be geared more towards late than early kill pressure.
Slow push by the Yone here in the top lane, a very fast push for the bot lane. I'm not really sure who wins out here at the moment. I certainly think, as we mentioned last game, the fight for the Wukong. Who secured that crab there? It was the Wukong, so he got away with that one. And I think he's going to get away with his life as well.
Works out very, very well for Mad here, especially because the Ornn was pushed into tower, so could not help in the jungle there. So it was quite a tricky fight. Could have gone very poorly for Wukong, but does, like you said, manage to get out with crab and his life intact.
Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the HOFL League powered by Dumar. I'm Say. I'm going to be your color caster and host for the night, joined by Climax alongside me. And how you doing, Climax?
I'm doing wonderful. Of course, we are having this quarterfinals. We're going to be witnessing some banger games. It's going to be, from what I've seen, ORO versus ESMAD. Both of these teams have been showing up. They've been playing perfect games, and I'm really hyped about this. I can't wait to actually get into these games.
Yeah, likewise, because I've heard so many good things about both of these teams, where the history of ORO almost as a team and what they've achieved, and now the resurgence and the rise of ESMAD and how they've even beaten ORO once in the group stage before. So I'm excited for the rematch, the revenge match almost. Both of the teams stakes now here in the quarterfinals, bigger stakes, and how they perform under this pressure is going to be key. But immediately into the draft, seeing that Ornn ban, the Wukong ban, just there's stuff coming up.
Yeah, you gotta love it. Like whenever there is like this grudge match between these two teams, it always ends up phenomenal. Like we are already getting into the draft phase. We didn't really have too much time to get into it. So basically, we are already seeing like pretty standard, I would say, bans. Nothing unexpected so far. Basically, there are these mostly oriented bans for certain players like the Swain, the Shen. You don't really want to leave them open, considering that both of those players have been popping off the mid lane and the top lane, basically like Darky and Blackout.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I think like how the first map draft is basically like a standard for the BO3 series, right? Because they're gonna have to adapt throughout the series. They're gonna have to make certain plays here in this first match right here, and then see how it works out in the actual game. But we'll have to see what the first pick's gonna be. We have ESMAD on the blue side with the power pick, going for that Udyr instantly. Now, I've been spamming some Udyr games myself ever since rework, right? And damn, is it good with the second awaken opportunities you get with every single ability.
Yeah, I feel like his early game has been insane right now. Like the amount of damage he actually deals up, it's way too much, I would say. Like his ultimate is not stable at this point of the game. Like they're probably gonna have to shift this up a little bit. We're probably gonna see some passive like our tuned down, I would say, to some extent, considering that the damage is just straight up too much. Whenever he has his passive bar up, he's fairly tanky. Plus he has this stun immunity. He can be crowd controlled during his Z whenever he has like full bar, etc., etc. So it's a fairly interesting first pick, I would say. I really liked how bold they are to just straight up try it out in officials.
Yeah, I mean, it's the power pick, right? On the blue side, that's the advantage you get, being able to pick it up. They went for it. And the reply from ORO, the Viego in the jungle, I'm kind of scared, can be bullied really by that Udyr. and the Sejuani coming out as well for the top lane. Now, I'm curious actually because I feel like Udyr can be flexed towards the top side, right? Do they take that matchup maybe against Sejuani, get like a full-on Viego counter? But no, the answer is instantly they want to slam it down on Sejuani. The Broken Blade, the Riven coming into play and really throwing the gauntlet against this top player. Like, I'm going to show you what top diff looks like.
Yeah, I feel like she actually struggles whenever there is these fairly mobile bruisers that can actually challenge her constantly. And if she doesn't actually manage to get out just by queuing out of the fight, she's gonna have a hard time. And they already feel comfortable. They're gonna try it out. It's the first game after all. Why not do it?
Yeah, exactly. Mad so far with like very identity focused draft where they're focused on their individual strengths. We're seeing more of that combo macro heavy draft from ORO with that MF pickup too. So definitely reasonable expectations set in the early parts of the draft for both teams. You can definitely the early game towards the top side going to be huge for Mad going into this game, and ORO they want to get to that mid game team fighty, skirmishy heavy area. So I'm curious to see how these bans pan out. Immediately that Yuumi ban gives me so much pleasure. I don't know if there's a Yuumi lover out there. If there is, then woe on you. I cannot stand Yuumi for the life of me.
To be honest, I was somewhat considering that they were gonna pick the Yuumi, considering that they already have like this MF, considering that she's got like the jail card bailout. as you know, like she doesn't really struggle all that much when it comes to like controlling the lane. She can just straight up peel for herself. She's got this. She can basically get out of a sticky situation with W, etc., etc. So it makes it slightly easier for the Yuumi to actually transition out of that early game. A lot easier, but I like that they're respect banning. Maybe they have something else in mind, considering that they can still go for some more aggression on both sides. They might even go for a Lulu. They might just straight up opt out for the Lulu.
I mean, with the Sivir for Mad, right, you have to assume they're going to play weak side bot. So I'd like to see ORO actually attack that bot lane. I like the Nautilus ban because of that. MF Nautilus can be a very dangerous lane to play against.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Plus, you've got to keep in mind that Sivir, even though she's fairly strong in the meta right now, like she kind of struggles to some extent during the early game, and maybe MF can actually challenge that. And considering that they already have this Sejuani on top side, why not just straight up invest more time into that? Okay, we are seeing like a potential Seraphim
Janna? And immediate answer in Janna as well. Sivir Janna. Now suddenly that doesn't look that weak in the early game anymore. You know, if you have this sort of cushion for Sivir to ride through the early game, literally for someone to spoon feed it to her, and then you get that ticking time bomb in Sivir online, and things are looking good so far for Mad in this draft. But the final pick, the counter pick for ORO, is it going to be the Seraphine mid lane? I think it's going to be the Seraphine support with that mid lane counter pick against the Sylas. But it's Sylas, man. Like, is there even a counter pick?
He doesn't really have all that much counter picks right now. Like, the champion is just straight up insane right now. Ooh. Okay, but we see a victor after all. That's fairly interesting. I haven't seen that champion in God knows how long. I can say that he's bad, but he's falling somewhat out of favor, I would say.
You look at ESMAD's lineup though. You got the Udyr, the Sivir, the Riven, Janna, Sylas. I feel like it's all of a one and done. You know, it doesn't look like a lineup that would be great in like a sustained, long, drawn-out fight. And so far, that's what ORO's lineup was looking as well with the Misfortune Sejuani. For Victor, he gives you that extended bit of DPS in the late game. I think if this goes beyond 30 minutes, then ORO really get that draft advantage. But early game, we're going to see ESMAD really try to continue their dominance from the group stage. I mean, and fair enough, right? These guys are the fan favorites from the polls. The public out there expect them to win. We'll have to see with the Udyr too. Will they get off to a banging start? But I love the draft, man. What do you feel like, Climax?
I feel like it's going to be a fairly interesting first game. I'm not sure whether the Udyr is going to make it through to the second game, but I'm really keeping I'm going to see it like straight up. I feel like it's going to be banned.
Okay.
I feel like it's going to turn out fairly okay, considering that he's got his ways to actually punish most of the champions on the other side, especially when it comes to this top lane, because you already have this Riven, you've got this setup, You've got a Udyr that somewhat struggles to get close to like to gank. He basically struggles when he doesn't really have setup for a gank. So basically, considering that you already have this Riven, it's gonna help out so much, and it's actually gonna, I would say, steam rocket that lane so much, and it's actually gonna give the Udyr so much freedom to do whatever he wants later on, and he's gonna be able to challenge the Viego later on. He's gonna be able to potentially let the Sylas play somewhat more aggressive, I would say. So I feel like I like both ends of the drafts, I would say, because you have this classical skirmish on one side, and then you have like straight up peel and play for backline.
Exactly. Very simple, right?
Yeah,
for
very
ORO,
simple.
Really.
Yeah. Plus, I feel like the meta has been like pretty much like that. Okay. So basically, we have a slight swap when it comes to like the drafts. We're gonna do a little switcheroo, unfortunately.
So we just found out that it's actually the other way around. So ORO is the blue side team and MAD is the red side team. So basically, you're gonna go into your heads. And you're gonna, every time we said ORO in the last 5 minutes, you're gonna switch it to MAD. Every time we said MAD, the last 5 minutes, we're gonna switch it to ORO. But I'm glad at least we know before the game starts, because again, the points still remain from a gameplay perspective, right? Exactly like you were saying about the early game really being, in this case now, ORO focused. That Udyr team has really got to find a way to enhance that power of the Udyr, and in this case the Riven too. Even the Janna to a large extent, I would say all the champions for the red side really start shining in that late game. So I want to see how they're able to play around that Sylas Victor matchup, because definitely the Riven is an easy access, but if you get that Sylas some freedom, allow him to start roaming into lanes, it can feel like you've got global presence all over the map.
Yeah, for sure. Whenever you have this Sylas ahead, he's a menace. You are gonna have such a hard time to actually deal with him. Like, he's got so much sustain, he's got so much damage. He just straight up unbalanced, and he's not even getting touched in the upcoming matches. I'm kind of sad when it comes to that champion. I really love the champion, but he's gotta take a knife, man. He's gotta get cut down a little bit.
But
and I don't know. The champion is just way too strong. I feel like he has a really strong place in the meta right now. He can just straight up play into almost any long range control mage, and obviously we do see the constant matchup of Sylas into Azir, even though you would be expecting the Azir to have like early game pressure, but it doesn't really go that way, considering that Sylas has all these ways to actually get close to him, etc, etc.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's where the Sylas Victor matchup is going to be really interesting, because in general, I think Victor, it's more of a gamble, you know, where Azir, he has the ability to poke at a longer range as well as get out in a longer range, but Victor doesn't have the ability to get out. It's more of the fleet footwork. You're going to need like the movement to be able to navigate that situation, or you just go in for the heavier damage, because in the lane with that laser beam especially, Victor can be a lot more oppressive than Azir can be. So maybe he's able to bench this Sylas, really put him down, and that's where again the Udyr comes into play. Are you able to relieve the pressure off of the Sylas? And because the more presence the Udyr has to show towards lane, that's the more time the Viego gets. And I feel like if Viego isn't disrupted by Udyr to level 6, he's just gonna take over the game.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, if you leave him enough time to scale into the late game, he's gonna just take over the game, as you said.
I will be Udyr, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, so we're pretty close to getting into the game. The players have already gotten the game. We have like a short pause, and we're gonna get right back to you guys. And I'm hoping for a phenomenal game. Like, I want this to be a straight up 3-game best of 3, like insane quarterfinal experience.
I'm really curious too. With the Udyr, do they actually end up going for the invade? So I think we're gonna get off to a banging start, and we'll have to see which team takes the initiative Because, of course, the drafts are flipped around. It's ORO we're looking at. So, let's see. Oh, and we're going to take a quick break. Make sure you're ready with some popcorn for the games coming up as we head straight into the quarterfinals of the BO3 after a quick minute break.
Yeah, this is a very exciting previous game for MAD. They did manage to beat Eagles in their last one, but was the previous finalist in the last tournament. It was MAD versus Eagles. They should be very, very happy moving into this next game, having beaten their previous tournament's rivals. Should be hopefully seeing a nice, good, clean game here. A little bit less of a fiesta, hopefully, and see some good league.
I want to see more of a fiesta. I want to see those kills, baby.
Well, let's see what happens on this one. Already level 1 coming out. We've got a light movement into the topside jungle by MAD. I'll be a little bit careful here with Viego on the topside bush. It could be a little bit dangerous. Not going to go for an invader team.
Oh, Tigito. So we have a star player. Oh, okay. They can. Okay, yeah. So we have Tigito here as well. Star from Portugal, hoping to put in some work here, show us why he's top of the league. I'm hoping to see Sailor sort of come into it. I want to see them sort of do the things that I was putting the Eagles down for in the last game. I want to see that vision, and I hope that Tigito's going to be able to do that for us. We're looking at a little bit of a different team for MAD this time. Sticking with the Victor in the mid lane. Keeping the Nami in the support, but we've got an Ezreal as the ADC, we've got an Ornn in the top lane, and then we've got a Wukong in the jungle. I think that's an interesting comp.
Yeah, Wukong jungle, not something I see much generally anymore. It's quite strong, good CC up post 6, but before 6 could be quite tricky to get these ganks out with no crowd control. Could be quite an interesting match here.
We'll see. I'd like to see sort of the engage from the Ornn, followed up by the Nami, then for the Wukong.
Yeah. And we are right back to the game. We're hoping to see what's gonna happen, like straight up. Whether they're gonna opt out for any early game aggression. We already are seeing aggression from both ends. They're trying to fight over the dot bush. They're deciding to back off. But it was by far the most important thing. I would not want a fiesta straight up.
I kind of wanted the fiesta straight up, and I feel like right there, the Janna kind of panicked. They were literally going to run into that river bush. All 5 of MAD's players. So maybe she'd waited a second more. We get to see that Pinata really blow wide open. But okay, fair enough. The teams casually say hi to each other, exchange a few abilities here and there, and they're going to be back to their starting positions as we get ready for lanes. And that's where we're going to have to bring back the narrative. You can see that Smite Ghost Udyr. He's going to be influencing a lot of the game, and I'm kind of worried for Sejuani Climax, because the TP Ignite I know is the usual setup, but she's going to get dove again and again and again without that flash, and that's kind of looking scary.
Yeah, for sure. You cannot just fall behind during the early game. If you die once on that matchup, it's going to be straight up over, I would say. Considering that the Riven already has this Ignite, they're already opting out to put all their pressure there, and I've got to say, you've got to be really careful when it comes to that matchup. You've got to play super behind. You've got to be soaking up as much pressure as you can, and that's pretty much it. Like, I'm not sure whether you're going to be able to challenge, but just straight up try to survive and let the teammates do the rest, in my opinion. It's not a matchup that...
I mean, if you can survive the early levels, maybe get to, like, level 4, level 5, get a Thornmail, like a Bramble, on your side, then suddenly the trades do start looking better, maybe. But it's really that level 1, level 2 power spikes that we're going to have to look at and how it goes by. So far, the Grasp really doing her well in those trades, getting her that crucial health back. But again, talking about trades, a big one going down here in that mid lane. And we were talking about this during the draft period, right, Climax? About how that Sylas Victor matchup would be influenced, but we didn't get to talk about the bot lane. How do you think that Janna fares?
I feel like the bot lane, we don't really have too much to say about the bot lane overall. Like, never mind about the bot lane, we're already seeing aggression on top lane. And as we said, like, it's a very, very volatile matchup. You just straight up overextend for a second and it's pretty much over for the Sejuani, I would say. And this is gonna happen over and over again. You've got to keep in mind that the Udyr is gonna be around there the whole time from this point on. Like,
he's done
wait.
Yeah, he's just done a full clear. He's about to finish his top side camps and a small invade. Never mind. But
it's mostly for information, I would say. He just straight up using the pressure he has on mid lane right now, considering that the Victor can push up during the early game, and obviously it's gonna enable the Viego a little bit to straight up secure both of the Skull Crabs, which is gonna be huge. But never mind, who cares about the Skull Crabs? We see the Udyr on top lane again.
Oh no!
Wow, this is already looking like a disaster for the Sejuani. She's gonna have such a hard time, and I feel like the wave is already pushing towards her. At least it's never mind. They're gonna decide to slow push it. Like, she doesn't really have TP right now, so it's pretty much okay state for the next, I would say, half a minute or something, but it's gonna start pushing towards the Riven again, and I feel like the Udyr is gonna be there over and over and over again. If he's not, I would be pretty sad.
Yeah, and that's where we have to look at what Viego is gonna do in response. Really, not much of a farm lead so far, just 3 CS, 1 camp maybe. He's gonna have to start influencing the rest of the map, maybe find a way to get his MF online and tell the Sejuani, bro, you're just gonna have to suck it up and deal with the pressure that you're gonna get the entire game, because he's running out of options. I think the closer Sylas gets to that level 6 mark, the more kill pressure there is in the mid lane. You can see that maybe Udyr start to influence the other lanes too, and he's doing exactly that right now with a gank onto the mid lane.
Yeah, for sure. I do feel like he has to find some way to actually impact the map. At least when he hits like level 6. If he can get like some sort of XP lead, it might be somewhat okay to some extent, but the biggest problem is he doesn't really have any setups to work around, aside from the top lane. And that top lane is already looking fairly dire, I would say. Like, you've got to keep in mind that the Udyr and the Riven, I would say they constantly win out on a 2v2, and never mind who's gonna talk about 2v2 when you already see a solo Bolo on top lane again.
Wow. Beautifully played by the Riven. Goes for the instant flash stun to ensure that there's no exit going out for that Sejuani. Even if he cured, he bumps right into that Riven. Gets that solo bolo, as you mentioned it. 2-0-1 now. And he's got an item already. Bounty already, but hold on. In the mid lane.
We are seeing aggression on mid lane. Janna is actually finishing fairly aggressive, but she doesn't actually end up... like, they couldn't really go on with the aggression right there, but we see the Viego flashing, forced to flash right there, and we see the first Duma Drake secured by the blue team, basically for ORO.
Yeah, so far the draft really paying dividends, right? That early, even that minimal pressure from Udyr, helping that Sylas get into lane. You see that roam coming through from Janna too. Just absorbing the pressure from his MF Seraphine lane well, and I have to say the Janna so far on point with those tornadoes. Not missing many, and from personal experience, I can testify that is very annoying when Janna hits almost every single hurricane, except of course the one I just cast her curse and she missed.
Yeah, but for sure, whenever you get that Glacial Logmat proc, it's just so annoying to deal with. Especially when you have these somewhat immobile carries, it's gonna help out a lot. And I feel like it's gonna make it so hard for the Sejuani to actually try to attempt picks or even just straight up pull back from the backline, from the front line, I mean. And she's not gonna be able to be all that sticky. She's not gonna be this straight up super strong tank as you would expect it to be, considering that she's already this far behind.
I do want to talk about like that one item choice. I'm saying the boot's finally coming out. I was about to talk about the Bummy Cinder, and I feel like when you are this strong as an early team with an Udyr, maybe you pick up those Lucidity boots, maybe you get those 50s, even just prioritize ganks as much as possible, but you can see they're taking the smart route, the safe route, really. The efficient route, you know, getting that Cinder online. He's even got that Dark Seal to enhance his damage with the ganks, so far so good for Udyr, and he's heading back to Sejuani. This is starting to look like torture climax.
I feel like we are gonna see this over and over again. Never mind, we are seeing constant fights, like straight up 1v1s all around the map. Like there's literally no time to talk about like these particular things. And never mind, okay, maybe we're gonna see something from the Viego, but he burned his flash earlier and he doesn't really have. Actually, he didn't have his ulti just by a second there. I think he tried to get a minion just so he can actually get it on time, but he's forced to ulti out from the Udyr. If the Udyr catches up to you this early on, I feel like you're just straight up dead or forced to use flash. And considering that he didn't have one,
see, that's the thing. Udyr was ghosted, so yes, the summoner spell used, but at this point, Mad had small things going for them. One was the big Viego power spike when it comes to level 6. And when you see that that ulti is used to escape from the Udyr, that's pretty much perfectly the tale of this match. It's just Oro going into the face of Mad and taking everything they want. And Mad so far with no answer. We'll have to see if they can come up with one.
Yeah, and I feel like right now the biggest problem is that the Victor shouldn't have died here. Like, the moment this Victor actually dies in lane, he's completely losing topside pressure. Like, even though I would say that the bot lane might be like this glue to the whole team, like, yet they can maybe like try to contest something, but they're not that strong overall. Even though they can just try to answer to the Udyr playing aggressive on both sides, I still feel like the Sylas can challenge it a lot better in those type of scenarios. Like, you've already got this skirmish team comp, you've got this Sivir that can actually work wonders with the Udyr. She's gonna be able to make him even stickier, I would say. But we are seeing some sort of a pick already on the Jaina, but it seems like it's gonna be just a short trade. Yeah. I don't think that the both players were on the same track.
Just hey, what's up? Okay, back to farming season, guys. So let's not talk about. It's really funny though in that way how the meta for the bot lane has gone from what last year used to be farming season in the top lane has now become farming season in the bot lane. But we'll have to see how, like you've been mentioning, this Victor really plays out, because it's important to know he was the last pick. He was the counter pick. You know, the big major power player of the draft. But hold on, an answer back from Sejuani. That's a solo shutdown for Mad as their first kill. What a play.
I think that the Riven actually got it. Just straight up was full of herself and might have like disrespected a little bit. Maybe got in on a bad trade, and yeah, I don't think that should have been happening overall. Like, the moment the Sejuani actually starts getting big into the game, I feel like it's gonna be a lot harder for the Riven to do her stuff overall. And we are looking for what it seems like freeze on top lane. She's trying to have the Riven at least not lose all that much, and we are okay, the Udyr is still going on. He's going strong. He might actually manage to do something there. He doesn't really have passive right up, but he just ends up just freezing the way for the Riven, which is also good. And we get the second Drake for Med, which is gonna be Cloud Drake, and we're seeing an Ocean Drake.
Ooh, the best soul in the game for our first game in this best of 3 series. That sounds like a perfect setup to me. But ESMAD really coming out of nowhere here at Climax with the solo bolo for the Sejuani, then with the Drake coming through on the bot lane, and Oro losing what looked like a really tight grip on the game. Still though, they've got the power spikes with the items coming in early for them, almost all of them nearing their first completed item. So it's definitely going to be Oro still in that lead, but not by much. You can see the gold advantage just like 500 gold or so right now.
I feel like you can actually be in such a state of the game. Like, overall, considering that you already have like this skirmishing team comp, you want to be fighting constantly, you should be having at least the top side ahead. And you've got to keep in mind, the Riven isn't even ahead CS-wise.
Yeah.
Like, the biggest problem is she's even behind right now because the Udryr was constantly forced to gank there, and he was soaking a lot of the experience, and the Sejuani was just straight up there to take the waves and just straight up play casual, even though she's been ganked over and over. She's been killed like 3 times so far, and she still manages to find a solo kill. It should not be happening. I feel like right now ORO is gonna have such a hard time to play out the game, but we are already seeing like Ignite from the Prevent. She's just straight up trying to negate the damage from the Sejuani, just trying to answer to some extent. And
I think the Riven wanted to go for the all-in.
We're seeing a sneaky Udryr. He manages to stun the Seraphine straight up, and she ends up getting picked. She overextended there. She did not expect him. She wasn't expecting the wild Udryr. And never mind, he's still going strong. He might actually almost manage to force a flash from the Misfortune, but I feel like he's a little bit shy of getting close to her, I would say. And this is gonna be a first turret for ORO, which actually really works wonders for them right now, considering that you want to have this Sivir strong in the mid game. She can just straight up completely turn around this game, and I feel like she's gonna be the deciding factor when it comes to them transitioning well from mid game to late game, I would say. And this goal actually helps a lot. Never mind, we are seeing more aggression from the side of the Udryr. He's managing to pick up the Seraphine over and over. She's been overstepping a lot, and I don't know why she actually got in a situation like this, considering that she didn't even have ulti up at that time. They should have just straight up given up the pressure and just play around with what they've got.
Yeah, and talking about pressure, a lot on Riven right now. The prior even to Sejuani, the table's really turning in that top lane, but held stable by ORO in that bot lane as they get that early lead for the Sivir, as you mentioned, really crucial. And they're going to be able to now transfer that pressure onto the different areas on the map, bring that Sivir and that Janna to different areas on the map, get that Silas online, start pressuring for the Rift Herald, and really try to snowball their way out towards the mid game, because we are done with the early game. The laning phase completely over, and now it's up to those teams to make those smart macro calls. But Sejuani, though, looking for a pick, misses the Q.
Yeah, it was fairly close to a pick right there, even though it probably might have just straight up ended into the Sivir just straight up using like a summoner or two just to get out of that sticky situation, considering that the Viego did not have ulti right there, so it probably would have been somewhat hard to actually get to her unless we are witnessing some visual bug. Okay, never mind, it wasn't a visual bug. He did not have his ulti up. And we are seeing like some aggression from the Sivir. She tries to get some pressure on the mid lane, and okay, I feel like this is just straight up deja vu. We've seen this a couple of times already, and I feel like the Sejuani is not having a fun game right now.
This is when the Sejuani starts writing, "You can't 1v1 me" in the chat to the Riven because of the amount of presence that Udryr has shown, but rightfully done so from a team perspective with that Black Cleaver online as well. Sejuani's life not so great, and so is the case for ESMAD. They're gonna go for the dragon right here, but I'm not sure about this. You can see ORO coming in from the top, ready to collapse with Silas on the flank. This is looking like disaster.
But you've got to keep in mind the MF is actually in somewhat of a bad position right now.
Yeah.
Maybe the Silas can end up...
They leave it?
They just straight up decide to give it up for some reason.
I know ESMAD was the one doing the dragon, but that was mad by ORO. I'm not sure why they completely leave that dragon wide open, but hey, they go for the safe play, I guess, instead of electing to farm out the entire top side, set up vision for Rift Herald, and they're gonna trade objectives, so fair enough, but I feel like they could have contested that Drake.
I was actually, when I saw the position of the Silas, I was just straight up expecting that he's gonna steal Seraphine's ulti and just straight up completely like turn the fight around, but they decided not to go for a huge risk. Like, why give up like potential kills and maybe shutdowns to the opponents? Just straight up play it safe, I would say, when you're already at this big of a lead, you can just straight up try to steamroll from the Riven on, and you can maybe try to transition that advantage to the other side of the map right now. And I feel like she's gonna be trying some funky stuff right now, I would say.
Oh, absolutely. Now that the turret is gone, it's a longer lane. It gives Riven a lot more freedom with the way she wants to navigate that matchup. I think the Ravenous Hydra most likely will come online, or maybe even a Death Stance very soon. So we'll have to see how she's able to actually push this advantage through. But I think it's what I'm really excited to notice is that exactly what we see on our screen right now. The Phantom Dancer complete for Sivir. That's a 2-item AD carry online with a lot of pick potential in the order. He can start a fight anywhere he wants, and that Sivir with their 2 items online is looking like a dangerous factor in that fight. So my eyes are just on them and to see how that order pairs up with them.
Yeah, for sure. She does bring a lot of utility to the table. You gotta keep that in mind. And they're already trying to get as much pressure from the bot side, and we do see the Sylas steal from the Sylas stealing the ulti from the Seraphine, but they can't really go on with that considering that they just straight up got picked off.
My god.
Never mind, we are seeing like a forced flash from the Riven, and she's getting into a bad position and dies again. I feel like she should be a lot more... I don't know. I would say that she really has to. She has to be playing a lot more safer.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of like one and done fights from the Riven. You know, I think she has to like make the fight longer, really get that Conqueror online. Instead, all in on that Sejuani is never gonna work out. Full tank specs on her with the Sunfire Cape, the Warden's Mail as well, and another solo for Sejuani. And Sejuani's like, guys, literally, I am 100% carrying the game right now. 2 out of 2 kills. Can we get some contribution in from the other end? But it's easier said than done from ESMAD, because look,
we're already seeing a TP from the Sejuani. She's in a fairly good position, but we do see a ulti from the Sivir. Actually, never mind, it's just a ghost. She maybe manages to get out of this sticky situation. We do see the Viego in a fairly good position. He ultis, but they end up getting out.
And one tornado climax.
Yeah, for sure. Those tornadoes are just straight up doing wonders for the team right now. And you've got to keep in mind that the Udyr and the Riven are actually getting more advantages for themselves right now. And they're going to completely take over the top side of the map. Like, they're going to take all of the camps on the top side, and they can just straight up completely clear up the vision and just straight up play towards the Baron.
Yeah, and really like this is going to be so hard to kill this Udyr. I think he's going for the Force of Nature next. So he's going to have a Sapphire Cape Force of Nature and Tabais against Misfortune, who has an Eclipse.
But you see the Udyr in a fairly good position. They're already targeting the Viego. The Viego doesn't really have ulti, but they're just going to settle up for the Sejuani instead, even though she almost gets out, but the Sivir is already there to pick it up. And we see a solo bolo again. The Sylas on this time actually manages to get picked off, but never mind, we don't have time to talk about that. They go on with aggression and they get rewarded with 3 kills for themselves. This is probably gonna be a Baron at this state.
And oh my god, it seems like your prediction is coming through. I see an instant Udyr back after that. He literally just ran through the entire team. The Awaken uses of the ability is just absolutely perfect. Got the CC immune when he needed it. And even the ult with that single target damage, just absolutely perfectly done. They dominate that. They can pick up a free Baron. And this is despite their Sylas losing out on the 1v1. He even spawns on time to get the Baron. It looks like everything is going absolutely perfect for ORO. 9k almost on that goal lead now. And in a perfect position to really close out this game. Doesn't look like there's many avenues back for ESMAD, except the Drake. They get this one real quick, maybe sneak it through, they get soul point, but it doesn't look like Oro's gonna let that happen.
But I don't think that they're on the same track. I feel like they're not sure whether Oro is in a position to actually contest it right now, and I feel like they were somewhat hesitant with the backs. I felt like they were thinking, you know, we actually got the Baron already. We are probably gonna have a hard time getting close to the Drake on time. But I feel like just ESMAD straight up loses the opportunity right there. They weren't on the same track at that point, but it just straight up limits the options for them during the late game.
You can see on the map there's very little vision for Mad, so maybe they're just scared, you know. They're like, we don't want to go into that dark jungle, that dark river. And instead choose to play it out safe. They want to farm it out. They want to get that 2 items, 3 items, Rabadons online on that Victor. And really, that's their only hope back now. They got to team fight their way through this mess. But till then, Oro's going to clean up house. Turret after turret. Gold in their pockets as they look to finish off this game. A single error could literally be GG right now. Nobody can get caught. Oh, Misfortune. She's getting spicy. She wants to get some damage.
But you've got to look at this. Udyr, he's already wreaking havoc in this team fight. He's tanking so much, and he actually ends up to secure the teammates like 3 kills already. This might actually end up to be a game already.
Oh
we already see ulti still from the Salas. He ends up having the Sejuani ulti with himself, and this is like a clean sweep. Is an ace already.
This is what I was talking about. A single mistake could absolutely collapse in the face of ESMAD, and that Misfortune just getting a little too plucky, basically almost challenging the Udyr, you know, and the Udyr roars with all his might, pulls out that bear stance and slams them down. The flash is coming in for all of them as well, and it is going to be that Misfortune to once again finish it off as ORO get that win, easy peasy lemon squeeze.
I feel like the damage this Udyr has actually soaked in these fights is just straight up unethical, I would say. Just straight up ban that Udyr. He's not balanced, dude.
I will say though, I think the sides are supposed to swap, right, in match 2, so Mad does now get blue side for themselves, so if they don't, maybe Oro bans it themselves, we'll have to see.
Yeah, so basically Mad is gonna choose the side for the upcoming game. Yeah. Considering that they were on the losing end and they actually have the freedom to choose which side they're gonna play on. And I'm hoping that we are either gonna see them pick off the Udyr, considering that it's been showing off so well right now. He's been insanely tanky. He's been just straight up. He's been really sticking to the backline. Like, I don't know what's going on, man. Like, nobody could have dealt with the Udyr overall. Like, you have this control mage on mid lane that is supposed to be doing damage during the mid game and late game, but it's never gonna happen if he's in your face the whole time, man.
Yeah. I think that's where it's gonna be really interesting to see what Mad's choice is in that draft. Do they go blue side and play the game of chicken? We're not gonna ban him. Are you gonna ban him? We're gonna try to pick him. Or do they go red side? Maybe a Trundle counter pick. Maybe they ban it out altogether. Mad with all the options in their hand.
Yeah, I like how the top lane was actually going, despite how the early game gone through. Actually, like he was somewhat struggling with not surviving in lane basically, but in my opinion, if you actually put him this time on something like an Ornn, it might be somewhat better, I would say. And I feel like he actually played the tank matchup fairly good, considering that he was behind. He was behind CS wise earlier on. He died a couple of times, but he managed to catch up. He played it fairly well, and yeah, it was fairly interesting how he dealt with the top lane aggression overall.
Yeah, it's really coming out to be that jungle storyline, right? Because we didn't get to see much participation really from the Viego, and even more so than a jungle storyline, almost a draft one. It was Oro here picking up the ball, deciding they're going to go for an early game draft. They dominated that early game, and they're able to snowball the game off of that. Mad, they went for the combo heavy late game draft, but they never got there. So now the question remains, do they fix that thing by making sure they don't get dominated in lane, banning out the Udyr, limiting the early game options for Oro, and stick to that late game win condition? Or do they come to the playground with Oro and decide to like bring in an early game draft themselves? I want to see some LPL style, just level 1 fights in the river, sword to sword. You know, that's going to be fun.
I would like to see a lot more skirmishes overall. Like, it's been already a fairly interesting first game. I loved it so far. And I've got to say, there's something that I really like for the upcoming game, and we've heard that Med actually decided to be first pick. Basically, they're gonna be blue team for the upcoming game, and I'd really like to see how they're gonna shift up the draft. Basically, I'm hoping
100%.
for some spicy picks. I would say. But I'm not sure whether the Udyr is gonna go through the next game.
Well, I mean, if I was the Viego in that game, I'm being like, guys, give me Udyr, please. I will carry you personally. And we'll have to see if that responsibility is given, or if Oro just like, nope, not happening. They just instantly ban it as the red side team. Or like, I really do like the Trundle, even the Wally Bear into the Udyr. I think they're pretty decent picks because they're better in those skirmishes against the Udyr. Still, I feel like the Udyr is stronger, but maybe Oro wants to try and play mad at that game where they're like, we know you're gonna pick Udyr, so we have a counter ready.
You know what this actually reminds me of? The time when Udyr was actually meta. Like,
oh yeah,
with the
same ability Udyr. Our
yeah, it's Udyr. Basically the same Udyr, just straight up amped on steroids, I would say. Like, like the champion doesn't even require right now to go for that phase rush, what made him like super sticky.
Yeah.
Like he can just straight up go for Conqueror and run over people.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, if he actually makes it meta right now, I feel like the meta is gonna shift somewhat in the jungle unless people actually decide to ban him, like players.
I mean, even if people have to ban him, I think the meta already shifting to that jungle, and I want to see even that one pick that we haven't talked about that's really dominating the international meta so far, the Y into the Udyr, because I do feel like she's very strong herself, brings a lot of oomph in that early game, really her own setup, and if you're able to pair up with a stronger pick, maybe in the top lane, you can answer the small weaknesses we did see in the Oro match last time around, which was the repeated solo kills in favor of the Sejuani, despite the early success for the Riven. So clearly we're seeing in that top matchup some issues come out to play for Oro, and I want to see Mad really try to emphasize on that, maybe even shift away from tank for the Mad top laners completely. Give him like a Jace, maybe, like go win lane.
Yeah, he was playing the top lane very well. Like,
yeah.
I don't see a reason why not to go for a fairly aggressive top lane pick, I would say. And yeah, Aatrox actually was a pretty good answer. Maybe not into the Riven, never mind, scratch that, I would say. But overall, I feel like we might actually see an Aatrox if for some reason Oro actually decides to go for a tank on their side, considering that even though the Riven was played fairly good during the early game, I feel like she wasn't fighting most of the opportunities she should have been during the mid and late game. She was just straight up playing through the she was just basically some, I don't know, she was basically like mediocre, I would say. Like you expecting to have her a lot stronger at that point and just straight up running over people, but she was just okay, I would say.
I just did check my notes real quick, and I'm realizing that the Oro top laner is actually Shen OTP. So I want to see if Oro's like style that we've seen in the game, right? Really early focus, want to get every single one of their lanes involved, want to have priority all together. I want to see if that translates maybe into a Shen pick in the top lane, and we get to see the ESMAD player actually bring out some of the picks of his own, maybe a kill even. I think that's something we missed, like go full carry. You can still go late game with that kill in the matchup and have things work out, but I have to see it really. But I think the one thing we can settle on, and we don't have to question, is that Mad, they need to change something. They need to have some sort of answer to the dominance Oro displayed in that first match.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like Oro just straight up could do whatever they wanted. Like, the Udyr was always at the right spot. Like, Brooks has just been playing out of his mind. He was just straight up running over everybody. And I know, I loved it. I loved the way they played. And I hope they're gonna play the same style during the second game. I hope they're gonna go for something like aggressive team comp again. But I guess
hold on, there's got a quick break, I think, before we head on to our second match. So we've got a lot to unpack for sure, Climax. We've got a lot to talk about, but for you guys to refill up on your popcorn, let's take a small quick break.
Hey everyone, and welcome to HOFL 2022, your favorite League of Legends tournament. The month-long event will have teams showcase their power through 2 divisions, crowning 2 HOFL champions. Let's take a closer look at this year's tournament format. Teams are divided by pools depending on their overall ELO rating. Each pool will be drafted into 2 groups. For more information on the seeding system, please head over to the HOFL's website. During the group stage, teams will play against each other in single round robin within their group. The top 3 teams will be drawn into the second stage, while those finishing 4th and 5th will get one last shot to progress by facing each other in a best of 3 series. Knockouts will see the remaining 8 teams fight through a single elimination bracket consisting of best of 3 matches, fighting for their spot in the finals. Hey, we're excited to have you with us. Now, the real question is, will you go the distance? Don't forget, all informations will also be available on our website and Discord server.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the HOFL League powered by Dumar. We're back for this matchup between ESMAD Esports and ORO. And ORO picking up the first match win in a dominant style so far. Climax will get them the lead and effectively match point here going into match 2. But hey, we've seen plenty of reverse sweeps on every single stage throughout League of Legends. So maybe ESMAD, they bounce back. What say you, Climax?
I would really like to see a best of 3, straight up full best of 3, like 3 games. Yeah, I feel like the games have been wonderful, even though I feel like the biggest problem was overall the Udyr, just straight up doing whatever he wants, and the Viego couldn't really do anything about it so far. And okay, never mind. That's from the previous.
I got a heart attack.
That's from the previous game. We got baited for a sec.
Alright, let's go.
Okay, I felt like that was way too early to be a full draft already.
We've got that Udyr trauma too, so that's okay.
Yeah.
We're just about getting ready for the second draft right here of the match 2. And we'll have to see, because a reminder again to everyone watching, the real important things to look out for in this draft is going to be that Udyr ban from ORO or not, because I would assume as ESMAD, unless they can't play Udyr, they're going to look to pick it up in that first pick.
I feel like right now, if actually ESMAD decides to go for somewhat of a similar team comp, I would say that they really have to find a way to stabilize the early and the mid game through jungle or maybe topside just straight up. Like the Victor was pretty much fine to some extent versus the Sylas, even though the Sylas stinks, as you would call it. But I feel like they've really got to find either something aggressive, but it's really hard into that Udyr. Like I just keep calling it, man, Udyr, but I think they've got to fit it.
I could say like a Lee Sin coming out and really getting into the face of that Udyr to beat him, but I'm not sure. I think it's really up to ESMAD here. If they're not going to play, I think a ban is warranted, because ORO will be like, okay, so we get counter pick and we get Udyr. You get 3 kills last game, you get 0 this time, and just rickroll way over them. But I think ESMAD here do have the opportunity, and they have the history, right? We have to remember this team was faring much better in the group stages. They actually beat ORO themselves too. ORO, though, they came into this rematch with a game plan, and so far that game plan has been absolutely perfect. Now, we'll have to see if they can nail that draft once again, because, hey, match 1 got decided in the draft, maybe match 2 will too.
Yeah. And we are finally transitioning into the pick and ban phase.
Ooh, let's
and
go.
I've gotta say, I'm really excited about what's gonna be the first ban, and I feel like the first ban is already gonna tell us a lot of how the game is actually gonna go through. Like already, I feel like the drafts have been pretty much okay on both ends. I would just say, just straight up switch up the jungle at top lane maybe, and it's gonna be perfect.
Yeah,
Like-
absolutely. I also want to see if the Renata comes out. I remember it was banned out the last time around.
Yeah, actually, I'm really surprised that she wasn't picked off. Like, it would have been the best answer to the Udyr and whatever ORO had. Like, it was a complete answer to everything. Like, she's got insane peel for the whole team, and you can just straight up do whatever you want afterwards.
We've got the ban started. The Ornn ban coming out for ORO, the Swain Respect and the Shen Respect ban for Darky and Blackout. Both OTPs, of course. But oh, never mind. It's actually not gonna be. No, they're just baiting me, guys. They're switching around, playing with the minds of ORO as well as Viper. It is the Respect bans for that Swain Shen. And so far, no Udyr. So far, so good, because we might get to see that last ban come out to play. So in the game of Chicken, ORO, they say yes. They're like, we're not going to ban him out yet. If Matt don't ban it out in that third ban, then ORO, they've got a decision to make.
I feel like they're still not sure whether Matt actually plays that pick right now. Like, it's still a fairly new champion. You've got to keep that in mind. It's been only out for about half a week or something. Okay.
And they get rid of the Sejuani, actually. Okay, never mind.
Maybe it's actually gonna go through.
I would be very surprised.
Okay.
The Janna ban comes up, so I'm expecting that Renata to now be picked up by ORO early into the draft, because Audrey, the support, does prefer the Renata or the Janna combination. So I have to see. Mumu would not be expected whatsoever. I think this is just going to be. I would expect the Udyr ban to close it off just to make sure they don't have to deal with it.
But it's gonna be a Wukong instead.
Will be a Wukong instead. Okay, Chicken
they keep an
back
answer.
Matt.
Maybe
If they don't pick up the Udyr now, I think that's a massive advantage to ORO.
Out for the Sivir this time. Okay, that's actually a fairly good first pick, I would say, but it doesn't really tell all that much of how they're gonna approach the game, which is kind of good, I would say. But do they have an answer for the Udyr, and are ORO actually gonna go for the Udyr again? Is the actual question, if you ask me.
Oh my god! If this is TF Udyr, then it's just over instantly. Again, I can see that early game emerging, but instead, no, it's gonna be an answer pick to the Sivir. The Twitch coming in online. The Twitch Yumi, maybe? I think that's the best combination you've got for the Twitch. Maybe they pick that up, instantly answer in the bot lane.
I mean, yeah, you've got to keep in mind that you already know what the AD carry is going to be. You know that they're not really going to try to challenge the Twitch early on. So you do have the freedom to go for a Twitch Yumi. Like, the Twitch is going to be fairly safe with the Yumi, but actually they decide to go for the Lulu instead, which is also fairly good enchanter when it comes to aiding the Twitch. And it can actually pair up fairly well with most of the bruisers when it comes to the jungle. But I don't know whether
it can pair up so well with the Udyr and also answer the Udyr. Like the Whimsy into the Udyr is so good.
Yeah.
But if you get the Udyr yourself, the ultimate, the Lulu ultimate for the Udyr, the Wild Growth, that is absolutely insane. But we were gonna see a comfort pick coming out here in the Nautilus and the Diana. I was like, okay, man, we tried to give it to you. We really tried to let you get a taste of this storm and get the Udyr yourself, but you didn't. And ORO's maybe not going to pick it up themselves. It's really interesting. I think they just go Udyr here. It's really simple, really easy.
Yeah, I feel like at this point it's either the Udyr or they're just gonna straight up opt out for the Trundle. But never mind, I feel like they're on Udyr duty for the rest of this best of 3 series. I feel like the Diana actually, to some extent, is doing okay when it comes to like keeping up with the clear speed of the Udyr. But she's gonna have a hard time actually getting away from him, because once he actually gets to her, she doesn't really have a way to get out. Like, it's just straight up, either she manages to do a pick on somebody and she has enough follow-up that she can actually play the game accordingly, but I'm not sure whether that's gonna happen. Like the Udry,
Yeah, exactly.
like the Udry should be able to play fairly aggressive during the early game. Like yeah, maybe the only thing that actually might actually change the way this game is played is just straight up the slight change in regards of support picks. I would say, like this time we actually have a Nautilus that might be I would say some help to keep the Udry away from the backline. He can actually go on with some aggression, etc. He can pair up with a Diana maybe, but I don't think the Diana actually has enough damage to just straight up kill the Udry. She's just gonna run away from her if she tries to challenge.
Yeah, the bans are crucial though. You get the Silas out of the way for ESMAD. The Yasuo banned out too. I think the mid lane is going to be key now, because I do think Diana with the priority mid laner, like if you get a control mage online that has priority, maybe an Azir, starts looking a really lethal combination. But if Udry gets the priority lane, it's suddenly over. He can get into Diana's face, into her jungle, and start really dominating. But you've got the Riven coming into play here, and so far I have to say I'm loving ORO's composition so far a lot more. But the instant chokeat answer for ESMAD coming out now, that is going to be a spicy lane to witness, because it can go either ways. They are ready to finish off the draft, so they've got that control mage that can help Diana get the prio, get into the faces. How does ORO answer? I
really like the pretty old school, I would say, counter to the Riven. I feel like it's been to some extent, hypothetically, counter to the Riven for quite a long time.
No healing, chop.
You just straight up bite off her sword arm, and she can't fight you any longer. But I would say that I really like the way they actually approach this game. Even though, on the other hand, you've gotta say that this Kassadin might actually be a fairly good answer, but the biggest question comes to whether he's gonna be able to transition onto the mid game accordingly, whether he's gonna be able to just straight up get some items and start doing damage. But he's not gonna have a fairly easy game, I would say. Overall, he's gonna have a hard time to actually be super sticky to the Ahri. Like overall, even though Ahri is a somewhat safe matchup for the Kassadin, like he can negate most of the damage from her, he's not gonna get picked off as often. But the biggest problem is whether he's gonna be able to do enough, because if he doesn't get enough kills, if he doesn't get enough resources, he's gonna struggle in pushing up a lead, and you can't really have him like be even in this type of games. I would say
we're ready to get into the game, so we'll find out, right? But I 100% agree in that, where I feel like the onus is now on ESMAD. We wanted them to take the game by their hand, and they have. They've got the early game draft online, but Ahri is definitely going to have way more presence in lane as compared to Kassadin. He's going to have to sit back, absorb pressure, scale for level 6, and you can see even the item choices in that regard, right? The door and shield coming out for that Kassadin. So now the Diana gets that mid laner who can go along with her, try to oppress the Udry to a large extent, and that's where it's going to be really interesting how this game pans out, because I feel like if you go late game, ORO actually win this easy peasy. So Mad, they're going to have to get an advantage in some lane going nice and early.
I've got to say something. The Ahri actually opted out for first strike this time around. That's fairly interesting, I would say, into this matchup overall. Yeah, she does have the freedom to just straight up get some gold from this lane, but is it gonna be enough overall? Like, yeah, even though it helps her transition and get some items for herself, but I'm not sure whether it's gonna be good for later on. Like,
now look, Cho'Gath is really good into Riven, but level 1 is bad.
Yeah, but I don't think the level 1 is in his favor. Like, he's gotta be careful. It's pretty much. Oh no!
I think he was trying to ward. You do not keep your ward button and your flash button close to each other, guys. That's a big note.
Okay, guys, please, nobody tell the Riven. Nobody tell the Riven. She doesn't know. She doesn't know that he's flashless, guys.
I think given the nature though of Darky and how aggressive he was even in the first match, I think he's gonna find out soon enough and he's going all in and he's like, bro, I thought he would flash. Why is he not flashing?
I mean, you've got to keep in mind, like, this Choga doesn't really have any pots already on the lane.
Oh
and
my god, yeah.
I feel like that's gonna be a really hard matchup already. Maybe I feel like we're gonna see the same scenario like last game. Like, he's been keeping up even though he's been behind, but right now he doesn't have flash and this Riven is just straight up full summoners. Like, he's gotta be giving up as much minions as he can and just straight up pray to God that he's gonna find a way into the mid and late game.
And see, that's the thing. And if the Riven gets an early advantage into the Cho'Gath, suddenly the Twitch Lulu, they've got prio over the Silver Nautilus. The Riven gets prio. The Udyr gets to be a lot more free.
Yeah, we already see the Nautilus pretty far up. He hits a pretty bad dredge line, I would say. He ends up getting a huge chunk. That almost ended up horribly for Med right now. I feel like, I'm not sure, like, he can actually play that aggressive in such a big wave overall.
Yeah, not really respecting that minion damage, gets punished, and a huge trade in the favor of ORO over there in that Twitch Lulu combination. But back to our eyes on the jungler, because you've got the Diana coming in for the gank. But nope, just rejected. The health bars are too low for the Mad bot lane.
I feel like she just straight up trying to remove some pressure for them right now. And given the state of their lane right now, I'm not sure whether they're going to be able to do like a full-on 2v3. Considering that you've got to keep in mind the Seaver and the Nautilus are fairly low right now. And yeah, I feel like she was just straight up walking up there. Yo guys, I'm here. You won't be able to play as aggressive as you were. But never mind, we don't have time to talk about that. And here comes the Udyr. And this is probably what it seems to be like a first blood for ORO.
It's quite disappointing to see the most obvious play being made and punished by ORO right here, in the sense that, well, the bot lane's pushed up, the top lane's pushed up, so only the mid lane with the priority for ESMAD, the most obvious destination for the Udyr, and with the Diana showing up on the bot side, it was a free gank, and the Ahri ended up flashing, so that's a perfect cue for rinse and repeat. The Kassadin's gonna go back, maybe get himself an item, the TP will come in, the Udyr can go back, and if that Ahri loses the early lane to a Kassadin, well, suddenly that's just a Kassa win.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Obviously, the Riven is going for these prolonged trades. She can pretty much do whatever she wants at this point. And I don't know. It's gonna be a pretty hard game. And so far, the Udyr hasn't even moved from Milan, and the Ahri isn't even respecting right there. This might be another
gonna come back.
Yeah, for sure.
Now the lunge.
I feel like there is no way she gets out of this sticky situation, and this Kassadin literally got the perfect scenario he ever could have wanted, to be honest, for this matchup.
And ORO too, right? Because look at the gold advantage. They've got 1.5k in the pocket, in lead for them. Top lane with the CS lead, bot lane with the CS lead, Kassadin and the jungle with a kill each to their name. ORO is continuing their dominance climax. They were fast in, fast out of the first game, and they want to make it a quick one here, right here. I wonder if someone in Team ORO has a date after this matchup. They're making quick work of ESMAD.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It seems like they're in a rush. Like, we've got to speed run through these games, guys.
Boys got a date, boys. Let's go.
And she's not even letting him breathe on top lane at all. Oh, he's having such a hard lane, even though he's still keeping up with CS-wise, I would say. That's pretty impressive to actually manage to keep an even lane, even though he actually lost out a lot, but she actually goes for a...
Oh, that's a double.
Never mind, I cursed it. Okay.
But look, the Diana is only level 5. They push in this wave, it's an easy dive on the Diana with no ulti available. Twitch Lulu going for it too, there's fights erupting in every single direction, but okay. The TP pulled out to make sure that the Diana doesn't die.
She ends up burning the flesh to the Riven! That was so close! And we actually have the Ahri following up, she does have full ulti. Is she actually gonna able to pick up the Udyr? She's fairly patient with the charm, and she ends up getting it. That was so well played from the Ahri. Like, she didn't blink twice. She was waiting so long for the charm, and he was just straight out standing still, trying to outplay him for way too long that he just straight up took so much damage to get out of a sticky situation. And we see potential aggression from the Twitch, but it's probably gonna get Dredge Line there. Is he gonna be able to... Actually, never mind. He's just gonna tank through it all. He doesn't really care at this point.
A small advantage from their fight for ESMAD. The exhaust used by the Twitch trying to get the damage down, but not so much so. They're just gonna be able to heal it up back with that pot, but still definitely that huge pressure on the Sivir Nautilus bot lane. It's kept that Nautilus down. He's not able to find good fights, good engages. And talking about good fights, Kassadin now starting to win trades. Climax, this is looking scary, scary, scary. Kassadin winning trades is like a no, he's gonna kill you then.
Yeah, even though the Action managed to get a kill on top lane, she's without ulti right now. She's gonna be really respectful of the Kassadin. She's gonna... we're gonna see this over and over again. Like, we're gonna see the Udyr just straight up.
Oh, both the jungles are here.
Okay, are we gonna see some aggression from both ends? We already see the Udyr in a fairly good position. He's managing to do a lot of damage. We do see the Twitch falling on the other hand, but he's gonna completely overrun the whole fight. Like, the Diana straight up just gave up and was trying to get at least some minions in her pocket, but it ends up into another disaster for Team Mad, as it seems. And we are already seeing like this first break that is gonna go in the hands of ORO, and I don't think like Mad can do anything about it right now.
I will say though, Diana picking up those 2 kills really crucial. She's gonna get her Sorcerer Shoes online. Get a Blasting Wand for herself. Definitely has the damage to burst out someone like a Lulu, you know, so... Or even a Riven, for that matter. You go for the Riven gank. Hey, Dumar Drake secured for Team ORO right here with the 3k goal advantage, and they're not gonna stop on this Riven. Oh my god.
I feel like this game is getting out of hand once again. And we see another trade on top lane, but this time around we gotta keep in mind that the Riven doesn't really have flash, and she's gotta be somewhat careful, even though she does have the wave in her favor right there. And we see constant annoying trades from her. Whenever she has her E up, whenever she can just straight up go for a short trade with her shield, she just straight up goes for it and backs out right away.
That was like a dangerous back right there from ORO. If that Diana Q had managed to cancel the back, we might have seen the 3rd kill for Diana as well as ESMAD, but that's not the case. Luck certainly seems to be in favor of the Brave, and the Brave so far are ORO. Oh.
She manages to put down the Cho'Gath so low right there.
Yeah,
and
he's dead.
Okay, never mind. Udyr is here as well. This is looking...
Udyr's really just mad. He's like, bro, let me get an assist. Yeah.
I think he actually got on it. No, he didn't get on an assist right then. No, never mind. I thought he had like his chilling smite, but he still, for some reason, he hasn't actually gotten his improved smite for some reason. Maybe he's just saving it, I guess.
It's one of those moments. Oh, a huge shutdown actually for Sivir.
Yeah,
play
for sure.
made by that Diana.
I feel like this is actually what should be happening as much as possible right now. You do want some freedom for the Diana and to have her do Diana stuff, I would say. Like, she's possibly gonna end up diving the Lulu. The Lulu is in a fairly bad state, and I'm not even sure why she's still here. This is probably gonna give up a lot.
Okay. The kill traded.
It ends up in a trade, but Kassadin is not gonna go too aggressive right here. Okay, that Twitch is still here. He's forced to flash right out, and they end up trading, which is fairly good for Twitch because she can just straight up keep playing aggressive. And he does have flash, he does have exhaust, and this is probably gonna be another kill for the Twitch.
Oh my god, it started off looking so good for ESMAD, but it's all going wrong, even in the top lane as well as the mid lane. Udyr trying to get a 1v1 here, Riven trying to get a 1v1 there, and ORO, they just answer back. Climax. Despite good plays from that Diana, just a little too aggressive on the Kassadin. The Twitch gets to die, come back into play, and pick up few more kills, and he's got a shutdown once again. And
okay, he's diving the Ahri already, man. Oh my god.
Oh no.
I thought it was a bad idea to leave the Udyr open, and it actually was.
Yep.
He's already wreaking havoc on the Rift, and I don't think they have a way to actually deal with him right now. And even though you thought that the Shogat would have been a good answer into the Riven, it's somewhat struggling right now, even though we actually have the Diana here to answer. Can she actually keep playing aggressive? And she ends up getting a kill. She might actually completely end up turning this over.
Oh my god, this is double. Oh,
another kill. Oh, that's so painful. Okay, she ends up getting so much gold for herself right now, and I don't think there's gonna be anybody to actually answer this Riven at this point. I feel like it's not gonna be the same game from last time around. And
oh my, he's flashing
bridge light. What is going on?
Are dominating. That's what's going on. They are stamping their authority on ESMAD and turning the fan favorites out to dry, getting their revenge while they're at it for their previous loss to Mad. The Order coming into play. He's the Stormbringer for ORO, and they've certainly that game plan around that Order. They've done it to perfection. 7k gold lead. Dragon in their favor. I'm sure they're gonna get the Rift Herald in another minute, and just like that, they're just probably gonna end up ending this game faster than the other game even. Because you can see, unlike when the AD carry was playing Sivir, he's now on Twitch, he's looking so much more confident, so much more aggressive. Celis actually feeling like he's in the game a lot more, and he's got the perfect support in the Lulu to back up that aggression.
I feel like this actually has to be like straight up.
Oh my god, look at that. No, she's dead.
I don't think she's got a way to actually get out. Maybe actually she ends up just straight up putting out, but the Nolas is in a bad state. I'm not sure what he actually tried to do there. He was like the Sivir was already out, and he could have just straight up taken a safer route and possibly get out. But never mind. And we see more aggression on the side of ORO, and they're just not stopping. They don't really care what's going on the map. They're feeling themselves right now, and they're just not stopping with the aggression.
And the crown of the Shattered Queen online for the Kassadin. He's just going to permanently win trades now against the Ahri. But look at the Udyr. You just got a Force of Nature. No mythic even, but that's how good he is in the early game. Taking a lot of damage, but he will not die. Saves time for that Kassadin, man. And
I feel like he's way too resilient. I feel like it's GG at this point. Like, I've seen advantages during early game, but this is not an advantage. This is a straight up stomp right now. It's like 8k gold advantage for the side of ORO, which should not be happening. Especially when you have this team comp that should be at least even, or maybe slightly behind to transition well into the mid game. But this is not slightly behind. We're seeing the Nautilus forced to flash again. He does have Dredge Line, but he can't really get out of there. And we get another one on the name of Twitch. He just straight up completely takes over the game right now.
Twitch will probably be back in the next 30 seconds and buy himself a Kraken Slayer, and then it's probably just, you can't beat that Twitch damage. Like, the Cho'Gath is gonna melt with the Bork, the Ahri, the Diana. The Kraken Slayer is going to ensure that every single player in that ESMAD team gets melted high and dry, and you see that Kraken Slayer combo online. It's looking quite dicey for ESMAD. Remember, this is match point for ORO, and really, I love the fact that you mentioned the team composition, because it all goes back to the draft. ESMAD, they had the side choice coming into match 2, they picked the blue side. They had the opportunity to pick up Udyr in that first pick, they chose not to, they chose not to ban it. They handed it straight over to the hands of ORO. And just like that, Udyr has absolutely demolished every single player here over for ESMAD. And to add on to that, that Twitch as well, he's looking real scary. I like the fact that he's got a much more aggressive pick that he's able to make plays on, but how does ESMAD find their way back into this?
Yeah, and there is something I've got to say for sure. Like, you got to keep in mind that ORO was actually struggling in groups, just barely to get into these playoffs, and they end up just completely running over the third seed for groups. Like, these aren't even close games at all.
Wait, what?
Okay.
I think you saw that. a little bit of a visual bug. I thought the Udyr literally could run through walls now, but he can't. But he can still run through people. That's Wakio picked up the Twitch looking for a lot more.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is I'd say this is pretty much like game over. They're gonna get everything on the map. I don't feel like even Med has a jungle of their own right now. They can't even step into the jungle and try to contest anything. They're gonna lose every neutral objective. They're potentially gonna lose every turret and stuff like that. I feel like this is so hard to actually deal with because you have these champions that need so much resources, that need so much stats to actually work. And we have the Udyr just straight up tanking 3 people and not even taking damage. He's just straight up taking them all, and they end up securing like potential 3 kills. That actually ends up getting a kill on the Lulu, but is it even gonna matter? It's just straight up a support.
The Chomp doesn't come in on the Lulu though, so the Cho'Gath doesn't get a valiant attempt over there from Wanted, but unfortunately, it's gonna be too little too late at this point. Like you said, the Udyr just running through them. And I have to remind all of this without Mythic. This is just him with the force of nature. I've
actually seen this in solo queue and I really loved it. I've seen many people just straight up opt out of building the first item as Mythic. They just straight up go for Frozen Heart or like what's it called? Force of Nature, as he did, and yeah, this is pretty much a dead. Okay, never mind. That was pretty close though.
Ulti investor, he's gonna have to back off. And Diana gonna take his place. That Kassadin in the side lane really coming online. But boy, oh boy, this Twitch won't stop. He just wants to fight all over.
And this is not really that tanky Cho'Gath you'd be expecting. We do see the Riven securing a kill for Team ORO, and the Diana is in a good position to actually keep playing aggressive, but there's nobody to follow up on it. Like, yeah, the Diana can actually jump into the backline, but there is no follow-up. The Ahri didn't have ulti, the Sivir is not able to walk up to her at all, and then just straight up getting aced. And this isn't even 20th minute in, despite the game already.
This is what I was talking about. I think the game's gonna get over sooner than the first game. The Udyr trying to beat his own speedrun time as ORO run it down, looking for match point, match end, and the Rift dance while they're at it. At least kill the Rift so he doesn't get to dance, and that's not gonna happen. We get to see that Rift dance as ORO pick up the match win.
Yeah, that's pretty much like the cherry on the cake for sure. We do see a dancing Rift, and that's just goes to show how dominant the ORO performance was during this best of 3.
Damn.
I would love to see how ORO actually gonna play through this whole playoff phase, and I'm really excited for the upcoming games.
Exactly.
That's all I'm gonna
say. You have to think, like you mentioned earlier too, this was a team that was struggling in the group stages, but that little bit of time they've really prepared themselves. Maybe this new Udyr patch favoring them too, allowing them to be a lot more active on the map, get a carry in the top lane, and have that tanky jungle come through, really helping their team out overall. Either ways, they're looking scary, man, and they're basically saying now to every team that faces them in the future, if you don't ban the Udyr, then we're gonna have things to talk about.
But I've gotta say, even if they didn't play the Udyr, I feel like most of the laners were playing fairly dominant and they were fairly strong. Like, each and everybody showed up in these games. It wasn't just the Udyr. Like, yeah, the Riven maybe had a somewhat sloppy mid-game during the first game, but second game, there was a statement, I would say. That was a statement. It might have been like straight up a play of nerfs for the first game. Maybe she was just straight up getting into the mood of the quarterfinals, but damn, he was showing off right after.
And the thing is, like, all of this without any pop-off performances from their star player Blackout, the mid laner. He was just chilling. He was playing well. He was able to get an advantage every single time, but not like the pop-off games we were expecting. Instead, the rest of the team is popping off, so that's bound to give every single one of them a lot of confidence going into their semi-finals matchup. And oh boy, I'm excited to see how the next opponent for ORO actually prepares for them, because when a team is feeling such high confidence, such high highs, they really start steamrolling through their opposition, and that momentum really starts coming into that advantage.
Yeah, for sure. You would like to start a playoffs stage just like this, like full of confidence. I would say that you don't really have to respect anybody from this point on. Just straight up play your game and just run everybody over, I would say.
Yeah, easy peasy. It seems to be for ORO, but we'll have to see if today was once in a XYZ scenario or actually a consistent thing that we're going to see time and time again. Certainly looks that way with that Rift Herald dance to close it off. Just that perfect moment that describes the series. Shows exactly how dominant ORO was, and of course the MVP has to go all to, I think this is not filled in, and there we go, to Brooks. Surprise, surprise, it's the Oder.
Yeah, for sure. Like, he was way too consistent. He was way too dominant in both games. Like, you've got to give it to the Udyr. You've got to give it to Brooks. He was phenomenal. He was all around the map. He wasn't even dying. Like, Udyr was so tanky. He wasn't even dying at all. He wasn't taking damage.
Yeah.
He's been like 70% HP for the majority of the game. He just straight up shields and he ends up full health. Like, you can deal with it.
Hey, you just deal with the Udyr, and that's how it rolls. The most valuable player, of course, Brooks, for the side of ORO as they pick up the win. And man, it's going to be a really interesting set of games following up. That was the end of our first quarterfinals. Unfortunately for ESMAD as well as the fans, because ESMAD were the fan favorite, the polls favored them. That storyline is going to be completely dismantled by ORO, and they're a new face really coming into this competition after a bit of a weak group stage. And I love seeing that resurgence from teams. It means they put in the time and the effort required to improve as a team and really come out stronger. And that's going to be a cautionary trail for ESMAD as well, because I feel like they didn't really put as much respect into the draft as would have required. They, again, didn't have that early game presence we wanted from map 1, and it just sort of let go.
You would always love to see a good Cinderella story. Like, this was by far the best scenario you could have actually gotten. I'm really excited for the upcoming games. That's what I'm gonna say. And wonderful. I'm speechless. I would say I'm speechless. Like, these games were a statement. Yeah, and love the end for sure.
Yeah, I think with that we are towards the end of this quarterfinal series. Thank you, of course, for stopping by, everyone. And remember, of course, to give your love to Dumar, the sponsor overall. But I think we're going to go towards a quick break as we get ready for the next few games. And hey, make sure you follow the channel. We'll see you around.
Hey everyone, and welcome to HOFL 2022, your favorite League of Legends tournament. The Monthvlog event will have teams showcase their power through 2 divisions, crowning 2 HOFL champions. Let's take a closer look at this year's tournament format. Teams are divided by pools depending on their overall ELO rating. Each pool will be drafted into 2 groups. For more information on the seeding system, please head over to the HOFL's website. During the group stage, teams will play against each other in single round robin within their group. The top 3 teams will be drawn into the second stage, while those finishing 4th and 5th will get one last shot to progress by facing each other in a best of 3 series. Knockouts will see the remaining 8 teams fight through a single elimination bracket consisting of best of 3 matches, fighting for their spot in the finals. Hey, we're excited to have you with us. Now, the real question is, will you go the distance? Don't forget, all informations will also be available on our website and Discord server.